It's week one of high school football, and here to talk about it is our two experts, Coach Bob Ryan and also Matt Judkins from Prepcast.com.
Lose that term a little loosely here. We've seen 1 week, though, and it's been fun.
So far, so good.
Yes.
Right. Well, week one, it's always exciting to finally, all the speculation is done with. Now we can get down to business and look and see how these teams shape up. And we're going to get off with our rankings, top 10 rankings, right off the top, East St. Louis. And actually, as we saw just a minute ago, they did lose their first game, but this is a good competition. They played Wayne High School out of Dayton, Ohio, 20-11. They lose, but you got to give them props that they played tough competition.
No doubt about it. Going out of state to play a top caliber team, you have to tip your hat to Coach Darren Sunka for willing to go out and find that kind of opposition.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the state of Illinois, sometimes for them to play that really tough competition, they're going to play in their tough conference. But sometimes they got to go as far north as Chicago as well. So he takes a team out of state, and harking back to the olden days for East St. Louis, look out. They lose this first one, but they're going to be there all year long. And
they will play St. John's College out of Washington, D.C. coming up on Saturday. Fort Zumwalt West is our number 2 team. T.J. Moe had 4 touchdowns. The Jaguars win over Hal Central 53-0, guys, and he's really proving to be the real commodity.
He really is, and he led the team. That's their 18th straight conference victory in the Gateway Athletic Conference South. T.J. Moe is the leader of that team offensively and defensively, and that just depicts what he did this week.
Yeah.
You start to talk about two folks about the conference and about the team, Fort Zumwalt West. They get excited about going out and watching Friday Night Football because they know he's going to put some plays out there on the field. He's going to be very exciting. So go out and watch him. If you just like high school football, he's as entertaining as a young man as you're ever going to see.
And they move up to number 2 in the rankings. At number 3 is Kirkwood. They do have, because of their turkey game, they don't have a game this week. They will take on Marquette next week. Then DeSmet at number 4, and this was kind of our surprise team. We didn't have them in our top 10, but boy, they proved critics wrong as far as thinking maybe they lost a lot. What will they do this year? And Matt, boy, they came out guns blazing against Melville.
They did. They beat a very good team in Melville. A little bit inexperienced at the quarterback position, but here they come, and they relied on a lot of those players that are coming back. It's nice to have some depth at some of those other positions, running back, and then especially on defense. Linebacker, they're very deep, so look out for them. They were a team we talked about at the end of our segment last week as a team that we think is going to be there at the end of the year as well.
Moving on to number 5 and number 6, Eureka checks in. The Wildcats, they get a win 12-7 over Lafayette. MICDS at number 6. Quarterback Jeremy Ote had 3 touchdowns as the Rams beat Festus 22-3. Then to number 7, SLU. We talked about this guy last week online, Ronnie Wingo. They win against Parkway South, kind of a redemption. They had a tough loss last year against the Patriots.
Well, Wingo ran for 172 yards. He's the big play man. We talked about him last week. He's not only a big play man, he's a workhorse. Teams focusing on him, but doesn't make much difference. Coach Gary Kornfeld finds a way to get this youngster out in the open and break free.
And at number 8 is Hazelwood East, Mike Jones. He's a first-year head coach for the Spartans. They get a win over CBC. Gateway Tech, behind Anthony Pearson's 4 touchdowns, beat Soldan. They'll have a tough game against Helias coming up next week. And then Timberland, Monty Ball picks up where he left off. The Wolves, a big winner over Deschênes. So let's take a look at some of the big plays from week 1 as we go to the highlights. Our first one is a game that Matt, you and I were at, Oakville and Vianney, and it was Dalton Hewitt. You might recognize that name. He is the son of equipment manager for the Rams, Todd Hewitt. Dials it up to James Gladstone, the coach's son. It was the Griffins winning 37-19. Then at number 3, Hazelwood West and Pattonville. Kyle Baker's punt is blocked by the Wildcats. Jarvell George recovers it in the end zone. Hazelwood West with the upset, 39-33. At number 2, Parkway North and Cape Central. Viking quarterback Tyler Brock back and a bomb. 75 yards to Anthony Davenport for the score, 28-0 North at that point. And our number 1 play is right before halftime in that same game. As time expires, Brock with the interception, and he'll start going the other way. And you think this is a great highlight. Look at it. He weaves through traffic, gets all the way down to about his 12-yard line. Looks like he's got a convoy, trips up, and collapses right there at about the 2 over Parkway North, a winner 42-6. Now, we did not see one guy that did play, and he is our player of the week, Monty Ball. Timberland, they get a solid win in week 1. He really only played one half of football.
Well, he ran for over 300,000, not 300,000, that'd be a little too much for him. He ran over 3,000 yards last week. last year, 1,800 yards as a sophomore, so now he's over 5,000 yards. Played half the game, really dominate the game for the Timberland Wolves.
Yeah, a lot of question. Can he duplicate what he did last week or last year?
Big stat there, only 15 carries. Very unusual for him only to carry that number of times during a football game, but we know they moved up a class this year. They're really going to need their workhorse, so when you get a chance to rest him, you might as well, and he's still going to carry the load for them the rest of the year. Great talent, and I expect to see him maybe as a nominee for the Player of the Week each and every week.
And he will take on St. Charles, him and his Wolves, next week. Now let's go to the nominees for who you can vote for our Game of the Week this coming week. The first one is DeSmet and Hazelwood East, as we talked about. Mike Jones, first-year coach for the Spartans. Althoff Cahokia Redbirds. Kenny Jones had 5 touchdowns. Cahokia, they steamrolled O'Fallon 24-3. SLU, we talked about Ronnie Wingo. They'll be taking on Parkway Central, Howell North, and CBC. So make sure to go to hsgametime.com. And then also you guys have got some KMOV Spotlight games that DeSmet Hazelwood East. And then also you guys will have Rockbridge, Hazelwood Central, Riverview, and Pattonville. So make sure to log on both to HS Game Time and also prepcast.com for all that. Guys, appreciate you checking in this week at week 1. We'll see you in week 2.
Looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it, and get on out there Friday night, watch some great football, and tune in next week too and find out what happened.
Outstanding. Thanks so much. Steve?
All right, throughout the